Hello, Trish here. This video is for all of you who find yourself sitting at your desk all day long and you just need a short practice to wake you up, rejuvenate you, and help you release some of that tension that we hold from sitting at our desks. So what I'd recommend is to just sit down, maybe scoot away from your desk so you have plenty of room on each side of your chair, and come into what we call seated mountain pose. The knees are right over the ankles, the feet are flat on the floor. You can have your shoes on, it's no problem at all. And we're just gonna start by rocking through a cat and cow. Rock the heart forward and then pull it in, roll the shoulders a little bit. See how that feels. And then a little bit side to side. Just a couple of times you should feel a nice little stretch on the side of your waist. Keeping the head pretty much in line with the neck. Coming back to center, we're just gonna stretch one leg out. The heel comes to the floor, the foot gets flat, the toes curl back. Maybe even lean slightly in the direction of that leg, wakening up that back of the hamstring. And coming back up to seated. Replace that foot and stretch out the other one. We're just slightly wider than the hip. Leaning gently in that direction. Take a deep breath and come on up. And then lifting one ankle, bringing it to the other knee. And you can scoot this foot forward a little to help the leg drop. You can stay right here with the hands on the shins, just leaning the heart forward, or you can come as deeply forward as your hips allow. And we're just gonna take 3 deep breaths here. Try to breathe in through the nose and out the mouth. Couple times, and then just through the nose. You want to avoid rounding the lumbar spine. You want to keep it long and straight. Breathing in, we move back up to seated position on an exhale and uncross that leg and maybe rock the hip a little bit, and then we'll try the other side. Ankle comes up across the thigh and we lean into this forward fold. You're going to be feeling it a lot in this back, in this hip here. 3 deep breaths. You can wiggle your toes. And slowly rise on the exhale. Coming back to seated mountain pose. We'll work on our neck a little bit. I'm just gonna hook one hand under the side of my chair and the other arm goes out wide, and I'm gonna lean away from the arm that's wide, so that I get this long stretch here across the shoulder and the neck as we take a couple breaths. And the other arm is relaxed and kind of down. Gently switching to the other side. And it doesn't matter where the arm is. In fact, the lower the hand, the deeper the stretch here. And watch where your chin is. It might want to go up or down a little more. There's no wrong position except one that causes pain. That's the wrong one. Slowly come back up. Take both hands and just slide them down to the base of your neck so that your thumbs are kind of down the neck. Lean back into your hands. Lean back. Use your neck muscles to lean back. Press the back of your head into your hands and take another breath. And then release and come forward. Rock the head forward and back. And then take the hands one more time behind the head, and this time tuck the chin and gently press into the back of the lower skull here with one more breath. And gently release. Good, maybe just move the head and neck a little bit, roll around through your belly. And we're gonna turn sideways on the chair so that we can reach the back of it to take our twist. I'm just gonna put both hands on the back of the chair, maybe around the sides as I lift up through the heart and take a couple breaths here. The knees are pointing straight off this other edge. And gently unwind and swing those legs all the way to the other side and take the twist on this other side. Gently turning into the twist. Coming out of that twist and right back to table pose. I want to go ahead and stand up and come over to the side of the chair. This is optional and it may or may not work for you the first couple of times you do it. I want to take one foot and put it sideways on the chair and bring my knee down to the chair. The other leg, I'm going to touch my chair here, is going to start to walk back. I'm coming into a kind of pigeon pose here on my chair. It's just a really nice deep stretch. If this doesn't work for you, of course, just go right back into that figure 4 shape that we had earlier here, stretching yet again down into that hip. If this position on the chair works for you, then I'm actually sitting on the chair here with my other leg stretching back, getting a nice lunging feeling here. One more breath. And then I'm going to walk that back foot in so that I can push myself up. And I'm going to get nice and flat in the back and just rock back and forth in the shoulders and the hips a couple times. Maybe take a few cat-cows here. And I'll bring my elbows to the chair. Make sure my feet are just a little bit behind my hips. Start to drop the shoulders and stretch through the backs of the legs and the backs of the shoulders. Deep breath. Coming slowly onto my hands, back to that table pose here. Walk those feet in and slowly stand up with my spine long the whole time I'm standing up. And I'm going to switch to the other side. So we're going to come down into that pigeon again. The knee that is closer to the back of the chair is going to come onto the chair. Try to sink into the seat here and then stretch back. Lifting up or leaning in. Remember, you can also come right back into your seated forward fold. Seated figure 4, sorry. So whichever you're in, you're slowly going to breathe and relax into the hip. And then when it's time, you're going to slowly walk that back leg in so you can stand up and come right back into that table near the chair here. Good. Coming down onto the elbows first, sinking into the shoulders, bending into the knees a little bit. Good. And of course, if the table's in the way a little bit, you can move your chair out. And then I want to go ahead and come around to the other side, so I've got lots of room. And I'm going to start to walk my feet further and further back. I'm coming into down dog on the chair here. So we want to keep those feet way back behind the hips. The heels can even come off the floor a couple times. We're just stretching through the back of the body. Long line from the hands to the hips. Little bend in the knees. Deep breaths. And slowly walk up again. We're going to take a few chair poses. So what I'm going to use the chair in the middle. So chair pose looks like bending the knees, sinking into the hips here. Some people lean more forward so they can get deeper. Either way, we're just going to stand by the chair so we can hold on with one hand, bend into those knees, take the other arm up so you have a line of energy from fingertips down to your hips. If the knees are hurting, pull them in a little bit, straighten them out a little bit, and breathe. Slowly stand up, walk to the front of your chair, and then almost sit down. Actually tap the back of your legs down and up a few times. Really working those thighs. And then slowly step to the other side. Hold on to the back of the chair as you sink into your third chair pose here. Arm slides up, spine is long. The belly is actually kind of dropping toward the thighs, tailbone swinging back. And rise, good. We'll move into our eagle pose. I'm just gonna stand on the leg that's closer to the chair and come up onto the toes of the other foot and then cross it over and plant the ball of the foot outside of my outer edge of my foot that's standing. Okay, so this is a great pose. It's getting a little stretch here. I'm gonna start to cross my thighs as I bend my knees and sink into my eagle pose. Take deep breaths and breathe. You're nice and balanced. That standing leg is getting a nice deep bend and a crossing here. One more breath. Rising on the exhale. We're gonna step over to the other side of the chair again. We're leaning on the foot right beside the chair. The other knee bends and crosses over. We're on the ball of the foot. And then we start to bend the knees, crossing the thighs, sinking into our eagle pose. We're just breathing, arms low, holding onto the chair when we need to. One more deep breath in, rising on the exhale. And we'll go ahead and sit down. And we'll do our eagle arms, taking the arms out wide. We're gonna cross the right elbow over the left, but palms face up the whole time, so our elbows are crossed. And then we begin to bend the elbows. And you can either grab your shoulders, you can bring the backs of the hands together, or you can twist the wrists so that the palms touch and maybe grab a thumb, something like that. And we're just gonna breathe, maybe lift and lower the elbows a few times, just enjoying the stretch in the shoulders here. After 2 or 3 deep breaths, you're gonna spread those arms apart, stretch them back, point backwards with your fingertips so you get a nice deep stretch all the way through this carpal tunnel area, the inner arm. And when you're ready, you're gonna come forward, crossing the other arm on top, left arm this time, palms are up. We bring the palms toward the head. Maybe we grab the shoulders, maybe we take backs of the hands, or twist the wrists and lift and lower those elbows a few times. Our legs are still flat, but you could come up onto your toes a few times here, stretching them out. Nice deep breaths. And just one more position. We're gonna take this wide spread, point those fingers back and down a little. The final position before we rest is gonna be called a camel pose from the chair. And to be able to see this, I'm just gonna turn sideways. I'm gonna put my hands off the edges of the chair, start to roll my shoulder blades back in together, maybe walk my feet a little bit forward as I slowly lift my hips and stretch upward and squeeze the glutes just a little bit. Take some deep breaths. Feel free to sit back down, rise back up a few times. Really nice stretch in the hips, the back, and the arms. And relaxing, good. And for our resting position, I'd like to have you turn your chair sideways to your table, kind of move some stuff out of the way. Take your elbows, bring them over to the table so you're in a little bit of a twist, and then lay your head down on the table and take 5 deep breaths. Let your legs be soft. You can even turn your face forward, put your forehead on your hands. See if you can soften your shoulders on that last breath. And then lift the head, bring yourself back up to seated. Turn your chair in the other direction. And take that twist on the other side. Bringing the elbows to the table, stacking your hands to make a pillow for your forehead or your chin. And breathe. Try not to think of all the things you need to do next, but to just listen to your breath. Try to soften the shoulders. Bringing the head up. You can turn your chair back to where you started. Feel free to just rock the shoulders back and forth a few times and get back to work. Namaste, and I hope this helps.